Hey guys, I might have something very useful for you. So maybe you have been very often in this situation as well. You have just found a new weapon regarding on which class, and you just want to know if the new weapon is really better, like more DPS and stronger than your current one. And what I did recently is I have made up a Google Sheet document on my own. Um, so I'm able to compare two weapons very easily and to really know what weapon is better. So, for example, I have here a skiff, two-handed skiff with 812 item power, and my recent weapon has only 800 weapon power. So I could very easily compare the two weapons within my Google Sheet tool, and I want to share this with you. So this is the tool, and yeah, it's built up very easily. So basically, I just collected all the different damage brackets here with some formulas. And all you have to do is to put in the most important stats from your character into this sheet, and it will automatically calculate the true DPS of each weapon. So what we do first is you equip your original weapon, and then you just look, you go to materials instead, and the first number you look up is weapon damage. So this is the base damage of your weapon. So in this case, it's 2500. So this is the first number that you will put in here to the weapon base damage. Then you need to look up your critical strike chance. Here you can just put the stat that you can see in your stats, but you could also modify this number by a bit. For example, my Necromancer has some skills that just increase my critical strike chance. For example, I have my Serration passive, which increases my critical strike chance, or also my Bone Storm. So sometimes it's very useful to just modify this number to get a more realistic number. So in this case, I pretend that I have about 70% critical strike chance. So what I just do is I just go here to critical strike chance and just type in 70. No? Okay, yeah. So yeah, 70%. Then this again the same on the critical strike damage. And here you also might have different values sometimes. So in my case, I also have critical strike damage with bone skills. So it would make sense to just add these two numbers together. So 350 plus 127. So this is about 477. So I can just do this. And then you do the same with your vulnerable damage and with your main stat. So you look up your vulnerable damage, type it in, and your main stat, in my case, intelligence, 724. So you just put these values here as well. Then the additive damage, this is a little bit more complicated. So in Diablo 4 you have different damage brackets, and the additive damage bracket is the sum of many different factors. And on the right side you can see this whole table here. Here you can add your most important additive damage values that are viable for your build of your character, and then everything here will automatically get summed up together in this additive damage bracket. So what you do, you just look up here your additive damage numbers. So you start with all damage most of the times. So for example, all damage is 75%. So what I just do is, okay, I select the cell and type in 65. Okay, so 65 all damage. And then you do the same with basically all the stats that are needed for your build. So for example, I have damage versus crowd controlled, I have damage versus stunned, I have damage versus distant, versus healthy, physical, and bone. So these are my relevant additive damage stats, and I just put them all here so you can see. You just need to type in the number and it will automatically gain the percentage numbers. Then these get all summed together here. And now the last thing that you need to do is you go down here to your weapon speed, and you just need to check how high is your weapon speed. And you can find it just under the damage per hit. You can see here with my sword I have 1 attacks per second. So the damage speed is 1. You type that in and you get your attack speed bonus here. And this number here is basically your true DPS in 1000. So this means you have 225,000 true DPS with your first weapon. And then you can just repeat the same with your second weapon. And here I can give you a little trick. So my equipped weapon has 5 upgrades. And the new weapon that you will find will not have, obviously, 5 upgrades so far. So what you can do here is you just go to the blacksmith and you just select this weapon for upgrading. But instead of upgrading, you just check the numbers that the blacksmith will show you. So for example, here you can see each upgrade will increase the damage per second of this weapon by 50. So we can assume we start with 2400 damage per second, and we can assume that this number will increase by 5 times 48, so this is about 250 damage. So we can assume the damage will be 2650. If we do this, then we can just put the number here, 2650. But what we need to do then is we also need to put weapon speed 1. This is very important because here the number, the damage per second, is your weapon base damage together with the attack speed. So if we would type in this number here and then would type in the original attack speed of the weapon, then the damage would be slightly higher. So yeah, if you use this method, then just put in the DPS here instead of the base damage. This is your DPS. And then just put here weapon speed of 1 as well, and then you should be fine. So yeah, and then you just put in all the rest of the stats. And let's assume for this case that the stats are very equal to the equipped weapon. And let's just assume for this example that the only difference besides the damage per second is that the skiff has 200 life on kill instead of critical strike damage. So the sword has always critical strike damage within the baseline. So let's assume this is the only change. And what we do there is we just say, okay, I have 50% less critical strike damage. So I can just say, okay, 477 minus 50 is 427. So I just type it here. So I have my new weapon base damage and my new critical strike damage. And by the way, if you don't know, so for example, if you want to copy the values, you just select them with your left mouse click, and then you can just drag them here to the right. Okay, so and then it will just copy the values. Okay, so same same with here. You can just select these numbers and drag them down to the right. Okay, and you will see that you get the same numbers. And so here you type in 2650 and here 427. Okay, and here you can see like this is your true DPS with the second weapon choice. And as you can see, it's very close here. So if you assume all the stats stay the same and only we lose 50% critical strike damage with 150 more base damage of the weapon, then this weapon is only about 2.5% worse, so it deals 2.5% less DPS on average. And yeah, this would be your conclusion here. So yeah, I hope this was useful. I will share this document in the description, so you can just click on the link and download this document, because this will be a public document where everyone can work and change the numbers. So I highly recommend you to just download it if you want to use it, and then you can just work on your own and yeah, type in your numbers. And the good thing about this document is that you can just save your character numbers and upgrade them or update them every week or so, and very easily compare new weapons that you will find. And in the future, I also want to make a similar sheet with defensive gear. So, for example, gear with maximum life versus damage reduction versus total armor. So I want to do this in the future as well. Oh, and maybe last thing. So I also have here, you also have the opportunity to select some attack speed bonuses. So let's assume you have found a unique weapon which provides you attack speed bonus. So like the rogue has a unique dagger, for example, which gives you up to 30% more attack speed. So what you could do is you just say, okay, the second weapon here gives me attack speed bonus of 30%. So I just type in here, let me think, you need to type in 1.3, for example. So this would mean 30% increase. Oh wait, no, actually not. You can, I think you can type in just 30% if I change it to percent here. Okay, no. Okay, I need to change this, but I will do it like this. You can just put in 30% here, and then it will automatically show you by how much your damage will increase. So this would be then 26% more damage. Okay, so I hope this was helpful. And you can compare your weapon more easily than before. Tomorrow there will be a big patch with many changes within all the classes. So I will probably make a video where I analyze mostly the rogue and how the new balance patch will have effects on rogue builds. So if you're interested in that, then just check out my videos in the next days. And until there, I hope you have a good time and see you in the next video. Bye bye.